apart from business, Britain also offers opportunities in education.
Well, undergrad's always been a problem, Vikram. The Indian qualifications, CBSE and ICSE, don't actually lend themselves very well to UK universities. Grad students have been going in their tens of thousands every year, and they continue going. The visa issue, of course, is a big problem. Right? They can't any longer work there. The other problem that is not talked about as much is the fact that a lot of Indian students go for one-year masters, and the one-year master is not recognized by the Indian government. So if you combine the one-year masters and the visa issues, the numbers are going down. I would say people are still going out there for the premium education. So the Russell Group, the Oxbridge universities, people are going for those. But down the line, the universities are finding it difficult to get Indian students.
So what's your advice to Indians who are planning to study there?
Well, they should look at Scotland as well. I mean, when you talk about the UK, very often Indian students only think about England, right? And there's a major, major difference between England and Scotland. Scotland has 4 years undergraduate, and it has a totally different system. They recognize the Indian qualifications a lot better than the English universities do. So I would suggest that Indian students should still look at the UK. They should look at Scotland in addition to looking at England. It's cheaper to go to the UK than it is to go to most places in the world, even with the increase in fees. So if you're paying for it yourself, there's a good chance that you'll come up with a smaller bill if you go to the UK. Very few scholarships. Scholarships are there only for the premium institutions. Very little chance of working. My advice would be that the UK must be in the mix for anyone who's looking at going abroad.
What about work opportunities?
It depends upon where you want to work and which area of work you're in. If you're in certain areas of work which are at the higher end of the pay scale, there are very good opportunities in the UK, because the UK still has tremendous absorptive capacity for Indians, and you can get work visas at that end. If, however, you're looking and you're uncertain about what you want to do, then the work opportunities are very limited. Do recognize that if you go away for a year and you come back into India, you need to have started looking from the day you land at Heathrow. Right? If you haven't started looking the day you land at Heathrow, you've missed a day. Right? You need to start looking back in India, what your connectivity is going to be, how you're going to integrate back into India, because the Indian corporate world doesn't necessarily recognize a graduate program in the UK as having added as much value as 1 year of work in India. And that's where the conundrum is. Do you go away for that year? It'll help you 5 years from now. It won't help you just as you come back and then reintegrate.
What about building bridges while you're there, perhaps for the time when you return in the business area? Do you think that's an opportunity today? Because there are a number of British companies that are invested into India.
Absolutely.
And are probably looking at expansion. Absolutely. Do you think there are opportunities there?
Oh, there definitely are. One of the things I would recommend to Indian students going to the UK is link up with two organizations. One is the British Council, and the second is the Indian Alumni Associations at that university. The only one that I know that has a formal mentorship program to reintegrate people back is Oxford and Cambridge. Right? But others are getting into getting their act together. But the British Council and the British government has this thing called Generation UK. They're really looking at ways and means to reintegrate not just Indian kids coming back into India, but British kids who might want to come and work in India, because they do believe that a year, 2 years, 3 years working in India will give their kids coming out of university an edge which will make them global leaders. So I think we've got to catch on to both of that, and if we tap into that, there are tremendous opportunities at building bridges. There are lots of formal organizations. The Brits are much better at this than most other parts of the world, where they have such deep connections with India, and those have been formalized through channels that are accessible to students. So you've got the British Council, of course, but you've also got British business groups all across the country. You've got alumni networks. You've got all kinds of ways by which you can reintegrate back into India, not just with British businesses, but also with the associates of British businesses.
So while opportunities do exist, we suggest that you do your homework well. Seek out the opportunity most appropriate for you and then close the deal. We wish you luck in your opportunity hunting. Until next time, goodbye.